Thank you, Senator Lujan. Thank you so much for holding this hearing, and Senator Klobuchar, thank you for leading the way here as well. Thank you for the witnesses for being here. Ms. Johnson, I'm going to come to you, if that's okay, after I have a little bit of a wind-up here. SNAP helps 1 in 10 Coloradans put nutritious food on the table, supports more than 3,000 retailers in our state, from grocery stores to farmers markets. It reduces poverty, it strengthens rural economies, and generates $1.50 in local economic activity for every federal dollar that is spent. There are very few federal dollars that we can say that about. It's one of the most effective investments we can make to keep families fed and local economies afloat. But the bill the House Republicans sent to the Senate would make the largest cuts to SNAP in the nation's history and in the program's history. It doesn't just shrink the program, it shifts the burden onto states, as my colleagues have said. I don't think that's well understood, even by members of the Senate, much less the public. If passed, Colorado would be responsible for recovering 20% of SNAP benefits and 75% of administrative costs. That is around $300 million per year in new spending. Those are costs that Colorado can't absorb without cutting benefits, narrowing eligibility, or gutting services for our most vulnerable citizens. It's a shell game here, but it shows up in real lives in Colorado. And it doesn't stop there. The Republican bill layers on red tape, piles on new administrative hurdles, and then punishes states when these pressures lead to errors. And this isn't about rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. It's sabotage of this program. And Republicans just want to make it harder for families to address this lifeline, one they desperately need. And as I said, this isn't a cost-saving measure, it's a cost shift, and one that puts states into making impossible choices. We should be streamlining access. We should be modernizing systems. We should be slashing red tape, not setting up systems to collapse under the weight of unfunded mandates. And Ms. Johnson, first of all, thank you for coming to testify today. I know you have a young daughter. Is it a daughter? Yes. Before I was in this job, I used to be the superintendent of the Denver Public Schools, so I spent a lot of time with families in that context. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how these cuts might hurt your ability to be able to take care of your daughter and to be able to make choices about where you are during the day and where she is during the day. I hope in school is where she is, but
yes,
how you think about that struggle?
Well, besides my mother, I do rely on my daughter going to public school for childcare. That cut would necessarily not be beneficial to me at all because I already work 2 jobs and I go to school as well. I have to schedule with school, summer school. I have to schedule it with my mom, who also has disability. She has kidney failure, so depending on her health, sometimes I have to call out of work and have to call out of school, and those are plenty of hours that are missing.
And do you, I'm sure you've already testified to this, I apologize, but could you just, if you don't mind, remind people what those 2 jobs are?
Yes, I'm a certified medical assistant. I work as a home health aide right now, and I work at Darnestown Presbyterian Church in their child care center.
And what would it mean to you if you had to, I don't know what you would do. I mean, how do you make a choice about whether to take on a 3rd job or not, be able to pay for childcare for your daughter? It just it seems impossible.
Yes, that's a very impossible choice. Also, that would interfere with the goals that I'm chasing right now, that I'm building towards going to school to become a dialysis technician. I'm lucky enough that I even have a little bit of time to go to school and study and work and be a mommy. So picking up another job, I would probably have to drop school. And I don't know if I'm gonna have the energy to do it at another time. I'm trying to do it while I'm young and I still got the energy to do it.
Well, I just want to thank you for adding to your concerns by coming here, because I know that couldn't have been an easy decision to make either.
No, but I don't mind speaking up, advocating for some beneficial things.
And that's what I just want to say as I close, thank you on behalf of children and their parents all over Colorado for being here who couldn't be here today, because they're working 2 or 3 jobs, because they have a daughter, because they're trying to get an education just to improve their lives and make a little bit more money, which is what you're trying to do, provide your child the American dream. That's what you're trying to do. The kids that I used to work for in the Denver Public Schools, their parents all were working 2 or 3 jobs to do whatever they could to move their kid along in this economy and in this society. So on their behalf, I just want to say thank you so much for being here.
You guys are very welcome.